What is up, everybody? It is Stick Braxton, aka Clueless Creative. Um, I am here today to do a few things. The first and foremost is what the title suggests. I'm here to tier rank the Samurai Champloo episodes. Um, Samurai Champloo is critically acclaimed and apparently, according to TikTok and social media, has become underrated. Me personally, I've always thought it was fire, but maybe the younger generation and maybe just people are starting to respect it more. Um, but yeah, they're saying that it's underrated. But like I said, I think it's one of the best. I think it's in my top five, honestly. I think I have it in my top three actually. It's been up there for a while now. But I'm also here to kind of, in conjunction with that, um, announce, or I probably have announced it on some of my social media stuff, that I am releasing my next free verse collection entitled Infinite, a poetic companion to Samurai Champloo. Really excited about that. If you don't know, or you know that you're new here, I did one for Cowboy Bebop. Same thing, free verse collection, all 26 episodes plus the movie, uh, a piece for each one. And I'm doing the same thing for its original spiritual successor in Samurai Champloo. 27 different individual pieces, two for the last episode. Really excited about that. To me, free verse means that I take I watch an episode, then I will find an instrumental or find a beat, kind of feel the energy, kind of something that matches the energy of the episode, and then I'll just write from either the energy, the vibe, or the character mind state of one of the characters in the episode, and then just kind of detail kind of what happened or what they were feeling during that time. Um, I had a really good time doing it with Cowboy Bebop, and Samurai Champloo is so much. I want to say it was easier, but because of some of the beats that play in the hip hop, it's kind of easier for me to kind of get into it. So I use a few Samurai Champloo beats, and I use a couple other beats from other different sources. And I'll have the playlist out. Maybe I'll link it in the description here. But I definitely want to give those guys and everybody that I use a shout out while I was doing this process. I don't want to take too much more of your time, but just know that Samurai Champloo is one of my favorite anime, and that Infinite, a poetic companion to Samurai Champloo, will be coming out in June. All right, so I labeled the side as the best, really good, good. It is what it is. And down here, I just have to list the episodes because I don't know what this is. It's just like some random fake live action thing, even though I did hear about the live action. And let me tell you, I watched the Cowboy Bebop one, man. I had a video about it. I can't remember if it got muted, but basically I said it would have been fine if it just wasn't called Cowboy Bebop. So I'm hoping Samurai Champloo is better. I know they are working with the One Piece live action people, and Watanabe will be involved this time. So I'm hoping that's better, but that's not why we're here. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, I will be going back and forth trying to figure out what the name of these episodes are. I know them usually by heart, but I want to make sure I have the actual names correct. So we're starting off with, actually, let me explain the different sections. It is what it is, just means kind of what it sounds like. It's an episode where I know it has to exist or whatever, and sometimes it doesn't have to exist if I really want to be critical about it. But it is one that episodes that I'm like, I probably could have done without the episode. I understand how the main thing about Samurai Champloo is the moral to me, or the main overarching theme is it's about the journey, not the destination. So it's a part of the journey. So I understand why it has to exist in the episode or in the anime itself, but it's definitely on the lower end for me. Good means that it was a solid outing. Doesn't necessarily reach the heights that I think some of the other episodes does. There are probably some certain flaws or certain things that are like I'm not a fan of in these episodes. Really good means it's probably just something minor, a couple things minor that stop it from being at that very top level, which is the best. Which I'm like, these are episodes I can pick up right now, watch whatever. And honestly, some of them might be my favorite. some people might not have the same feelings about him as me. There are some episodes of anime where if I just want to watch the anime, I'll just grab an episode from it, especially these 26 episode animes where not everything's so closely connected. And sometimes I just want to pick one out and watch it. And there's a few of those in here as well. Okay, now I'm done talking. Here we go. We start off with tempestuous temperaments. Similar to how Cowboy Bebop started, it kind of sets the landscape of what we're going to deal with, sets our characters up very well. Doesn't give too much information early on, but it does kind of gets everybody's personality going. And what I love about this episode is that you kind of have, it really sets up that real opposites attract type of situation. We got Mugen, just this real, just out of control, just I do what I want type of mentality, versus Gene, who has a sense of I don't want to say morality, but a sense of duty and a sense of like morals that he just will not bend to. But he also has this kind of air of, yo, you actually believe this? You know, when he's talking to the dude saying there's no Lord worth risking your life for, like he really looks down on people like that. And I think that's kind of dope that, you know, that Gene and Mugen are different, but they're kind of similar in the same way. And Fu is this innocent girl, and she's got this. She's innocent, but she does have a little bit of crazy to her, because you got to think about it. Fu along the entire anime gets trapped a lot. Gets trapped a lot. Gets caught up a lot. But she's able to navigate that kind of. She never. It's rare that she gets close to dying. It don't get to like till the end of the anime until like she's in real danger. So she's able to, you know, navigate different situations. She's able to get out of a couple. So. And she helps the boys get out of this one. So I have tempestuous temperaments right in that really good category, because I think for an intro anime, for an intro episode, you really have to set the table. And I think it does that pretty well. Next up, we have Red Eye Reprisal. I will tell you, and when it comes to the Freeverse collection that I'm dropping, this piece is one of my favorites. Just the beat that I use, and just some of the things, and some of the way it's chopped up and flowed or whatever, the way the words kind of match up. I really like this one. As far as the episode goes, it's solid. It's weird because like I want to say that it's a good follow-up to the first episode, but there is kind of a noticeable drop. It's a little bit slower. It's a little bit what's the word I want to use? It's a little bit. I would say like it's kind of takes us off the path or whatever. You get some good fights. I think the battle with the guy that they call the ogre. I think that's a good battle. And I think his situation, how he was treated. You'll see that a lot in the anime with different characters as we go along. But I do think that, and Gene and the swordsman they mix it up in the hot tub. That's a good battle. I definitely thought he was gonna come back later in the series. I kind of wish he did. That would have been fire. And they had that little funny exchange at the at the hot tub or whatever. But yeah, I think it's a solid follow-up, but I don't think it just reaches the same levels as Tempestuous in the intro episode. So I'm gonna go good here because I think it's solid. I just think that, you know, it's a slower pace thing. And similar to that is Hellhounds for Hire Part 1. So it's funny because the funny story is that I actually first saw Samurai Champloo coming home from, I want to say, 4th of July fireworks display. I came home after the whole thing. I went inside. I turned my TV on. It was always on Cartoon Network. I don't remember what Cartoon Network channel was for y'all back in the old days, cable. I forgot what mine is now. I want to say it was like 33 or something. 33 or 47, something like that. But it was the ending of Hell House for Hire 2. It was very brief. And I remember the Mistline music, the Mistline song playing in the background when the Mugen and old boy was about to have that final duel. And I was like, wow, what is this? It's different. I just liked what I was hearing or whatever. So for whatever reason, and we'll get to the part two, but for whatever reason, that was my first introduction, and I just got attached to it. But Hell House for Hire 1, it's in the good category as well. Yeah, I want to say it's slightly better than Red Eye Reprisal, but not by much. I just think that I get it. The slimy, they try to do like the whole gang warfare thing and how there's a right way to do gang warfare. Like, we're both gangs, but we have this upstanding code, and then you have these vagrants and these rebels who are trying to just assume power through any means necessary, right? I don't know if I enjoy the story, but I don't necessarily like how, I don't know if it needed two parts to break it up. I get why, you have to have the whole thing with the son and Mugen and Jean already splitting from Fu, which is hilarious, by the way. That scene is freaking hilarious. And again, Fu gets caught up in a thing or whatever, but she has to try to find a way out. But yeah, I just think that it kind of ends on this weird, not a weird cliffhanger, but just like Mugen and Jean come back to fight each other. But it's like we're too close to that from the first episode. Like, we get it, you're not supposed to fight each other, and just because you're technically on opposite sides doesn't mean y'all have to do this. And later on, they stop doing that as much, and you can see their connection is really one that's enjoyable to watch throughout the anime. So I have that as good. I also have Hellhounds for Hire Part 2 in the good category, but I have it just a little bit higher than the first episode, mainly because the music used in this episode, I think the dice game was kind of funny. I like the fact that Mugen was about to leave and was like, yo, I have to go back and get the girl. It's certain things that you're like, you can tell even early that even though they may not want to be hanging out with each other, especially Mugen and Jean hanging out with each other, he's like, bro, I'm gonna see this through, and then I'm gonna do what I said I'm gonna do to you. We are gonna have this fight. I'm gonna kill you, whatever. So I do like this episode, but over time, it's not one of my higher favorites, but it is a solid one. Artistic Anarchy is an interesting episode. I'm not sure. It's one of those ones where, like, if you don't watch Samurai Champloo enough, you will forget that it exists. You will definitely forget that it exists in like the earlier episode. And when I think of Artistic Anarchy, I kind of think of a different episode that we'll get to later. I get those confused just because of the title. And at first, I thought when I go in, I was going to have this in the good category. But I think I'm going to put it in It Is What It Is. Like, it's fine. It's not an episode I get excited to watch. I'm not like, ooh, I can't wait to watch Artistic Anarchy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not super excited to watch the episode. And again, not to say that it's bad. It's one of those episodes where it's like, it's fine. We get the scam artist. Look at scamming back in the day. Scam artist who's kind of, honestly, it's kind of relevant if you think about it when you're talking about, a scam of, oh, we're gonna actually make you a model, but really we're selling you or whatever. Kind of reminds me of that rumor that we still don't know if it's true about Fayware, and the way that they sell certain items and the way they title items or whatever. But yeah, I think it's a fine episode, but it's not enough action for me. It's kind of played for gags and laughs or whatever, and I feel like Mugen and Jean are just kind of removed from the episode. Not to say Fu can't carry episodes, because she does have some episodes where she's the main focal point and it delivers heavy, but yeah, I just this one of the ones where I'm like, it's fine. I'm not really a big fan of this one. We followed that up with Stranger Searching. And this one is kind of similar where the action isn't as large as some of the ones we've seen thus far, but it does play a bigger part into not only like as far as the laughs and like some of the gags or whatever, but it also plays into the overall search. So right up until this point, we really haven't had any connection to our main destination, which is we are searching for the Sunflower Samurai. Cowboy Bebop does this too as well, where our main story we're following the story of these characters, but there is a main story in the background that's happening, and you get bits and pieces in certain episodes until eventually we start getting to the end, and then we have to tie everything up. So his name is Samurai Champloo. We're trying to find this Sunflower Samurai, but up until this point, we haven't been able to see where we haven't had any information, no clues, whatever, right? So this episode kind of finally gets not necessarily some clues, but it's brought up, and the way that our friend Joji, who is basically a visitor in Japan at the time, lying that he's Japanese or whatever, just because he appreciates how the country accepts him for what he would, for what he is or whatever, or who he is or whatever. His reaction to being talked about and seeing some of the things that Fu brings up kind of gives you this, okay, what's really about to happen with this story. But yeah, I think it's cool. I think it's a very solid episode. I'm gonna put this in, I gotta put it in good again, man. But I'm gonna put it in between Hell Hounds for Hire 1 and 2. Just because there's not enough action for me. I wish there was more. I like the little battle at the play or whatever. The guys do a lot of running in this episode, but as far as like comedic episodes and just some of the things, the eating thing is hilarious. Making Gene give up his swords, promising that they win, and then the way Fu loses is absolutely hilarious. But it's a solid episode. I think it's a good episode that kind of moves the plot forward. Now this one is a good. This is where we get really good again. A Risky Racket is probably early on the most emotional episode you're gonna see, and I would say it's still one of the higher ones if you're talking top 5, probably top 5 as far as emotional episodes. We get this episode where this guy is, he's kind of a punk. He's a punk pickpocket. He pickpockets our girl Fu. Like I'm telling you, she's an easy mark. But he's doing it for a reason, and as we get closer to as we continue through the episode, we kind of see why he's doing it. Then he gets in the situation where he trying to sell a little something on the side. He really he pickpockets some of that, and then he just gets in the situation where now he's the police is after him. This episode is so, again, not a lot of like action sword fight thing, but the emotions and the talk about what does it really mean to be a good son? Like, is he a bad son because he does these things that are crimes, or is he a good son because the reason he does the crimes is for a very good reason, for his mother or whatever? And then the ending, man, the ending is just so, when you watch it the first time, you're thinking, oh snap, like every other episode we've kind of had like a solid happy ending, at least for, especially if it's somebody that we cared about. Like the ogre dying at the end was quote unquote bad, but he got to at least say, you were the first to Fu, you were the first person who saw me and didn't think I was a monster. So when the kid gets away, we're thinking, oh cool, we're got another happy ending. Just for it to end tragically is one of the, it's really surprising to see. I will say that, so I got this in really good, and honestly, I do think it's better than Tempestuous Temperaments. Am I saying that right? Yeah, Tempestuous Temperaments. Yeah, it's just quality wise, it's really good. Like action wise, you got to give it to the first episode, but just as far as an overall great episode, yeah, it's definitely up there. Next, we have The Art of Altercation. This is where we kind of get into more of Gene's story, and Gene's story is that, he has a mysterious past. Nobody really knows too much about him. They just know that he's a wandering samurai, wandering ronin at this point. We have a background story of this weird guy just trying to win Fu's heart, dropping random freestyles, I guess. But this is cool because, like I said, we get more of Gene's story. We're getting, you know how Mugen and Gene are, man. They do love women. I will give them credit for that. They do love women, and they are easily swayed or whatever, right? But one of what's my man's name? Nagamitsu's lackeys, not lackeys, but like followers, is this guy who used to know Gene from the old dojo, and we find out that Gene had a thing about what they did to his former master. And so now you're wondering, what did Gene do? Like, what did Gene do? Why did Gene do it? We don't get the full story, but they have a little battle at the end, and Gene it's cool because Gene is like, you're right. I had no ill will towards you. If you want to do this, we can do it. I love Gene. Love that about Gene. I love that about Gene. Gene is always like, I understand why you're here, and if you got to do this, we got to do this. I'm just gonna let you know it's not gonna go the way you think it's gonna go. Like, he's always about. He don't duck smoke like that. He gonna go there. Now, if he finds himself in a pickle, he will find a way out of it. But he's not going to not fight. That's just what he does, man. So yeah, I got this episode as a very good episode. Yeah, I think it's better than Hellhounds for Hire 2 for sure. Yeah, Gene plays this episode really well. Fu is kind of funny, is really funny in this episode. And just watching the two boys falling over old girl is funny. I'm telling you, women seem to get them in trouble a lot. I'm not gonna lie to you. Beatbox Bandits. This one, I'm not the biggest fan of. I'll be honest. I will say this is probably the one free verse that I had the most trouble with, because it's really just an episode about Mugen eventually just getting high. I get it though. There's not much meat on the episode for me as far as what are we doing in this episode, right? What is our main objective? What is our main point? And it's, Mugen doesn't want, these guys don't want to be seen as government lapdogs. Cool. I don't necessarily connect with the episode as much as some of the other episodes, especially up to this point. This is episode, I want to say 9, and yeah, I don't know. It's just, I don't know, man. It's fine. Again, it's fine. Them getting high in the fields is kind of funny, and I liked how with Fu and Gene kind of captured and awaiting their fate, and putting their fate into Mugen's hands is always going to be hilarious. Just the way they cut back to them and being like, he's not coming back, is, and then the end where there's a dude running in the distance, and they think it's him coming back, and the music they play just to find out it's just some dude running. That's hilarious. So that I will give them points for that. But yeah, overall, it's a okay episode. It is what it is. I think it's slightly, yeah, I'll put it above Artistic Anarchy for sure. But yeah, it's fine. It's just not an episode that I think I would go watch. Unless I'm watching the anime all the way through, I wouldn't watch the anime I wouldn't pick this out to watch by itself. Now, Lethal Lunacy is a favorite of mine. I'm not gonna lie to you. Just the whole, I do pick this one out and watch it a lot because I just think it's such a cool episode. I think that the concept of the concept of a fighter really just wanting to go build strength and trying to prove his strength to other people, and having this basically, I wouldn't call it illegal, but like this weird fighting style, and just running amok. He just basically becomes a criminal just off of that, just trying to prove his strength. and Mugen basically taking the bait. Of course he is, right? And I liked how Gene kind of already understands Mugen's character and watching him train, because Mugen doesn't really train. Mugen's just really, I'm gonna go fight the dude. It is what it is, and we're gonna see where the chips lie. But when Mugen starts training for this fight, learning about his specific skills, Gene says he's doing it because hey, this is a fight that he doesn't know he's gonna win. This is the first time he doesn't really think he's gonna win a fight. So character development, I like that for what it's worth, and I think that it plays out pretty well. I think the story between the monk and our villain, which his name is Shoryu, their relationship and how he became Shoryu, because that wasn't his original name. Yeah, I do think it's a really good episode. So I'm putting it in that category. It's not quite the best, because I feel like when I'm talking the best, I really want to make sure I have the best up there, possibly besides one, and I'll explain when I get there. It will be a personal thing for me. But I think I'm gonna I'll have it behind Tempestuous Temperaments for now. I might switch that, but I think they're kind of on the same level for me. Gambles and Gallantry is a really, really good episode. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think at the time, maybe the first few times I watched Samurai Champloo, I would have this probably in a good category. I think as we went on, I would probably even have it in a really good category. But I've watched a few different people talk about this episode. Shout out to Chill Review. He did one of these, and I love the way he just broke down every single, why he loved it, he even has a video, about why he thinks this is the best episode of Samurai Champloo. And I can't even argue with it. I think he breaks it down really well, so go check him out. But this is probably one of the first best episodes that we have, because this story, we see so much of this different side of Gene, and how he gets caught up in the love for this woman, like love at first sight basically is what we get. And then we find out her fate and what she's kind of tied to, what she's forced to being able to do, and like Gene cannot let that go. He does these different things. He takes a beating just so he can see her. It's such a beautiful story, and the setting of her in the rain on the bridge, I think that's such a great imagery, and I use that in one of the free verses, and the free verse that I did, because I think it was just an important part of that story. And yeah, I just think that just his plan and his determination to make sure that he got her out of that, out of her abusive relationship, out of the brothel, out of this terrible situation, he was willing to do whatever, but he still said that he cannot go with her because he already made a promise to somebody. And I think Gene is a stand-up dude, bro. That's what I love about him. He's a stand-up dude. Even when he could just have gone with her, he really couldn't have, because the way he sent her. But the way he helps her, but also is still confined to helping Fu. I think that's just so dope. Yeah, this is really no notes. This is really one of the best episodes of the show. Probably the best episode thus far in the show. So of course they had to follow that up with an episode that it's just, it is what it is. It's the Disordered Diaries. Here's the thing about Disordered Diaries, and here's the thing about a lot of shows. You're gonna have a flashback episode. Flashback episodes can be useful depending on why they're being used. This just seemed like a reset. It just seemed like, hey, we're about to hit season 2. We're about to hit the second half of the show. Let it remind you what happened thus far. And that's it. There's really not much to say about Disordered Diaries, so I have to put it here. And it is what it is. But fortunately, and so here's the thing. So we get Gambles and Gallantry, very high episode. We get what I call like a refresh, or how they have those little things you can eat to reset your palate at restaurants. This is what Disordered Diaries is, because then we move on to Misguided Miscreants, part 1. And this is where we get some of Mugen's backstory. And Mugen's backstory involves him living on an island where apparently the worst people live. Like, it's not a great place. and we kind of get to see why Mugen is the way he is. Basically, the people that he was running with ain't too far from him, right? They might even be worse if we really keep it in a buck. But I think that this episode, oh man, as tough as it is, I really love this episode. I'm gonna put it in really good. I'm gonna put it behind episode 7, because I think just learning Mugen's backstory, and just you can see this change in demeanor, how he really doesn't like Mugen doesn't like people, to me, right? I don't think he really likes too many people. He really believes in what he can do. That's one of his big catchphrases, or his best quotes of the show. But when he really hates somebody, he really hates somebody. And he really does not like Mokuro. He does not like bro. So watching him, just his whole demeanor changes, but he still work with him, which is so weird. It's so odd how he does that. He's really conflicted with, I don't like this dude, but he probably is, along with our other character. What is her name? Because she becomes very important. Koza. They're the closest thing to family that he's had, other than his new crew, which is way better for him, as we'll clearly learn, as we've probably learned throughout this series thus far. But yeah, it's just total madness this episode, and the way it ends. It wouldn't be a Watanabe show if our main character doesn't go through some type of death, some potential death where there's no way he should survive this. That's just what it happens, right? But I think I have that at really good, because I absolutely have part 2 as one of the best episodes. You want to talk about manipulation, and that's what one of the free bursts that I have for this episode. It's all about manipulation, about how multiple people got played in this episode, and you don't really see it coming until you get closer to the end. Once you get about 4 to 5 minutes away from the episode ending, you're like, oh, I got played along with the characters, right? But that ending shot of Mugen limping on the beach, thinking they're taking care of whatever he has to take care of, and that ending shot of just that whole beach scene is fire. That music that plays, the crescendo builds up, and you think this thing is gonna happen, and it just doesn't, and just it's magical. It is a really, really good episode. It's like I said, one of the best, and they played that one perfectly. It's definitely one of the better episodes for sure. We followed that up with Bogus Booty, one of the funniest episodes of the show, and again, probably top 3 funniest episodes on the show. But there's also action, which is crazy. They found some money in the river, which that whole scene is funny. The fishing scene is funny. The filthy bitch line is one of my favorite lines. I think it's so hilarious, because why did he say that? Why is he such an idiot, bro? Mugen's a dummy. But that whole scene of the undercover money ring, and Mugen trying to get him some trying to get him some thing, whatever. But and old girl just playing with him or whatever, and just basically tricking him into helping her with her investigation and taking down this criminal organization, this criminal operation. I think it's one of the better episodes. I got really good here. Me personally, I got it. Actually, let me rearrange the rest of stuff. I do have Hell House for Hire in the front. I'm also gonna put Bogus Booty ahead of episode 7, because now I think about it, Hell House for Hire is really good. I really love that episode. Not to say that or I want to say A Risky Racket wasn't a great episode. Like I said, it's very emotional, one of the higher emotional episodes. But I just think that, I just think that I like the action of the other 2 episodes a little bit more. And yeah, Bogus Booty, like I said, Bogus Booty, I think it's just funny. Bogus Booty is a very funny episode, and yeah, I think that, you know, we needed some laughs, especially after the last two episodes that we just watched. Another two-parter coming up, Lullabies of the Lost. This is where we meet the wandering quote-unquote criminal, Okoro, in the forest, and he's basically being blamed for some shit that, I mean, he did, but there was a reason that he did it. And we kind of don't get into that until later, but we also get into another Gene moment where another dude has come in to try to chop his head off, bro. So we have a bunch of different parts that happen, and Fu again has the Gene and Mugen again have kind of split up. They're not together. They do this a lot for some reason. It's a solid episode. I think things really pick up in the second part of it, so I'm gonna put this one in the good category behind. I'm gonna go right here. It's a good solid start to the episode. Gene does another fake death thing where he just jumps off a cliff and survives. What a guy, right? But we get into the second part of the episode, which, Fu tries to leave with Okoro, says, "Can you take me with you on your travels?" Okoro's like, "Bro, you can't do that. You already had two people. Go find your people." Mugen gets his one-on-one with Okoro for a small amount of time before the police come and try to go in that, and then Gene has to put out another one of his boys. But it's a beautiful moment because the kid is just is doing what he thinks is correct. He's trying to avenge his master, but his real moment is he wants to make a name for himself by taking out the dude who took out his master, because all he ever wanted to be was like Gene. So the fact that Gene had to put him down, I know that kind of hurt him. You can kind of tell just based off of the way he had to do it. And then again, another great way to end this episode, because we get the crew back together, and Fu thinks that they're not gonna want to continue going on, but they're like, "Yo, come on, man, like, we're back together. We don't have to do this we don't have to say the words like most people. We don't have to do this. We can just be like, hey, let's keep it going." And then that beautiful song, I think it's You. It's You. What a beautiful ending to that episode. Great ending. So yeah, I got that one in. Really good. I want to say I have that right here. Yeah, I'm gonna put it right behind Bogus Booty. It's a really good episode. We followed the Lullabies of the Lost with War of the Words. And this is the one I get confused with Artistic Anarchy, because, and I don't know why, but I just think when I think of graffiti, I think that's art or whatever, right? This one is kind of again, not a lot of action, but it's funny. Mugen basically can't read, which we find out, which I think, I guess it makes sense. But he basically gets put into a crash course English class, a writing class, while Gene and Fu are dealing with these two rival brothers going back and forth, and they just turn into a gang graffiti warfare to get revenge for the dad, which I think is really cool. It's something that it's like their version of swordsmanship. And that's what it kind of plays as. And Gene kind of says, this is their way of getting revenge. Like, it may not be the way that their dad would have done things, but this is their way of kind of honoring him and getting the revenge that they couldn't get before. So I think that was cool. And the whole, do they think Fu was fine thing is kind of funny too. Even though the ages of the show is kind of weird. But, again, you know how anime is, man. I don't really get into it. But, yeah, it's a solid episode. It's funny. I'll put that in the good category. I probably put it right about here. Yes. I really feel good about that episode, honestly. But I feel better about this episode after the recent run that I did than I did previously, I would say. Unholy Union, the religion episode. I feel like there's always one. There's always one. This one is okay, bro. Honestly, part of me wants to put in is what it is, but it does have its kind of charm to it as far as the question it raises about blindly following people who are in religion, and the lies that it that it can, the potential for it becoming a cult, just blindly doing things that are said. So there is a way to look at that at this episode and kind of get that from there. Also, it kind of again leads to more of the situation with the Sunflower Samurai. So I'm not gonna talk much about this one. It's fine. I do like the pre-research I did for it, but I would say it's a I'm gonna have it in the good category just because of the storytelling elements, but in the back part of it. Also, the reveal of the guy being not Japanese, but like from Spain or some shit. Funny. His voice actor was also funny on the English dub. It was absolutely hilarious. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. Back to back, back to back, the best episodes coming. The Elegy of Entrapment episodes are two of the best episodes. It's probably the best two-parter episode there is. So that's excluding our final arc, the final three. But of the many two-part episodes, this is the best one. And for my money's worth, when you talk about who is my favorite villain of this show, it is Sarah, bro. Sarah is such a good villain because she's so flawed, and she really a villain, So story basically is we run into this blind singer lady. She plays her instrument. She's, we bring up the fact she's playing only sad songs, and she seems like she's always sad. And it turns out girl's an assassin, bro. And it's I don't know what it is about like just a blind assassin. It always hits, bro. Every time it always hits. Her character is very interesting. Her motivations are interesting. We learn kind of why she's doing it and who sent her to go after them. And we kind of, now the seeds are starting to grow. We're starting to sew things together about what's really happening behind the scenes as far as the search for the Sunflower Samurai. We're starting to learn that he's too important. He's an important figure to somebody, and they don't want this group to get in contact with them, or they want them to so they can do the elimination, which we find out later. I gotta say that I want to say, this is tough. I'm putting Elegy of Entrapment Part 1 ahead of Miscreants Part 2, but behind Gamblers of Gallantry. But I'm putting Part 2 as right now the front end for sure, because that episode is so good. One of my favorite parts of episode Part 2 of Elegy of, I don't know why I can't say it, Elegy of Entrapment, is when Mugen quickly realizes, bro, this ain't Jean not going down like that. He not stupid. He already knew that she was Fugazi. He kind of figured that out. He went to go find stuff, and he knew why did we find her but we couldn't find him? Why did she survive and he somehow didn't make it? He just knew something was up, and when he comes back with that stuff and just says tricks of the trade, huh? He gets mad that that he got played. I like Mugen, man. Mugen. At this point, you kind of realize that they actually care about each other, and whether it's because I want to be the one to kill him, or it's like I can do whatever I want to him, but nobody else doing that shit. That's what I like about this episode, because you kind of see that everybody's really, and Fu trying to protect Mugen when he's about to die. Everybody just starts coming together. You can finally see like this is a family, bro. They do not play about each other. I love this episode and just the tragedy at the end and just finding out the truth of certain things. Absolutely fantastic episode. The next episode is my least favorite episode of the show, and that's Cosmic Collisions. Because there are some times in an anime where things just happen and you just have to accept it. I can't, but sometimes they have some type of purpose. I've never been able to find out the purpose of this episode. It's one of those ones where, yes, it's supposed to be fun, it's supposed to be kind of haunting, it's supposed to be like this didn't really happen type episode, and that's fine. I love episodes like that when they're done right. I just don't think this was ever done correctly. Even Disordered Diaries has a purpose. I've never been able to figure out what this purpose is, because it doesn't have anything to do with the story. Like, it can't exist, because at the end they would technically all die. You know, so it's like this is like we removed ourselves from what we were doing. Didn't even come out of a dream sequence. You know, I link it to like Mushroom Samba from Cowboy Bebop. That episode really didn't have no purpose either, but it was funny, really funny, and it actually, you know, it happened in reality. This doesn't seem like it happened in reality, and I've never been able to shake that. If I would ever have to label something a quote unquote bad episode, this would be the one for me. I've never rocked with this episode. Now, Baseball Blues, some might also think that is also in a very similar vein. But hear me out. This is one of my favorite episodes of this show. I think it's the funniest episode. It's a silly game. It's a silly baseball game that doesn't even resemble baseball after like the first 2 pitches. And it's just all played for laughs. It's played like it's this real war, this real battle on a battlefield. And it influenced one of the better Boondocks episodes, the kickball episode of the Boondocks. I think when I saw it, I was like, wow, just the both of them just being very, very close 1-to-1 match as far as how things went, paying off the refs, the people, the Richard team having it's everything tied together, and I think it's one of the better episodes. It's probably the funniest episode to me. This is one of the episodes I will go back to watch randomly every time, and whenever I feel like the need to laugh, I will put this episode on. I think it's absolutely hilarious. Mugen is hilarious in this episode. Shout out to my man, The Saw. He's funny in this episode. He's always funny though, in his very sporadic appearances. Yeah, everything's just funny, man. Baseball Blues I'm putting it in the best category. I don't care. I understand that some people be like, it shouldn't be there, and above some Earth one. This is my personal pick on this one. I understand that it shouldn't probably be in there, but for me personally, it's one of my favorite episodes. Spoiler alert, the rest of these are also going to the best category. We don't have to even play around with that, right? So let's go ahead and put them there, and we'll rearrange them when we need to, right? So they're all in the best category, but let's talk about the final 3 episodes. Final 3 episodes, we basically get our conclusion to everything that we get the destination. We reach Nagasaki. In the first part, you know, Fu's starting to get that fear that this is over. You know, again, life is about the journey, not destination. Once you reach the destination, you technically reach the end. So then what comes next? And that's what Fu's starting to feel. And they share this beautiful moment at the campfire. And, you know, Fu takes it upon herself to be like, I gotta at least see this through to the end by myself, because I've asked you to do what you guys. I've asked you to get me here. The least I can do is to go and see it through to the end by myself. What they don't know is that there are people on their tails, like hot, and you know it's not just the government with the hand of God, Kaguya, but it's also the three brothers who have it out for Mugen, and so you know. Everything's happening at once, so like there are so many bad things that happen to them all at once. I would say part 1 is probably Oh, part one, because part one is hot with the quick little battle with Kaguya. Actually, it doesn't even happen. Actually, we just meet him. Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'll go here. I think it's a beautiful moment with the campfire and just learning so much about the guys or whatever. I think that's really beautiful. Um, but yeah, I think it's just under the Sarah episodes. Now in the second episode, we get you know a quick little battle with Jean and Mugen versus the Hand of God. But once we find out that Fu has been captured, because that's what happens at the end of episode one. We find out she's been captured, and so Jean tells Mugen, "Don't worry about it. I got homeboy." And Mugen's like, "Don't die, because we got to do what we got to do." And so Mugen is now become a savior of types, which he would never be in typical standpoint. Even Fu even brings this up in her as she's getting her ass beat. But what I love the most about this episode, and what makes it probably my favorite episode of the entire show, which is crazy because like it's still this is another part left, is the fact that when Mugen pulls up to that church after he's got stabbed by the other brother and sent that brother to hell and to the bottom of the ocean, he is hurt. There's no reason for him to have to still have this bravado. When he pulls up and says, "Bro, all right, buddy, time to get a girl back now." I'm like, yo, bro is so fire. I was like, and then he has this whole speech like, yo, look, I'll give up my sword, let her go, and he has to tell her, "Don't worry about me, I'm not gonna die," and he has to yell at her to leave. And that music again that plays in the background, bro, perfect music. This anime has like some of the most perfect music and perfectly placed music of any anime that I've probably ever seen. I absolutely love that moment. This might be my favorite episode of the show, which is kind of, when you really think about it, it really has to be all three episodes at once. I'm just doing it individually because that just makes it a little bit. I want to be particular just because I did different pieces for every episode, so I want to kind of give each one its due. And then we get to the final episode where Mugen and Jean both had to have their final battles with their respective people. And what's fun about the episode is that Mugen has always been the erratic fighter. He just does things. He does risky moves. He's a very risky fighter. No discipline. And Jean has always been the discipline. I have these set of skills. This is what I'm supposed to do. And this is how I fight. And they both have to use the opposite version of themselves. And they have to use the other person's style to get the victory. Jean has to kind of throw all type of, caution to the wind and use this one move that he's not supposed to get his victory. Mugen has to use his smarts to be able to get his victory. I think that's such a great way to do that. Definitely a perfect move there. Fu gets to meet her Sunflower Samurai. That whole emotional moment and kind of the truth that comes out about that is perfect. Kind of changed her view on a lot of things. And we can't really talk about this last episode without talking about Jean walking up, hair flowing, torn shirt with Same Old Thing playing in the background. It's literally probably the greatest pull up of all time. It's so fire. It's one of the best. I'll say that at the very least. And then we get to the end, man, where they kind of just admit that we're this is what I needed. Like, we're all what we needed at the right time of when we needed it. And yeah, they just go to separate ways. I'll put this. I think you got to put it as the second best episode. I think those two are probably the best two episodes of the show, and that's kind of where I have it. Because it's a perfect conclusion to the show. Just them all going to separate ways, but being like, "Hey, I'll see you around." And that's kind of what life is, man. We have people in our lives that are part of this journey, and sometimes we have to go our separate ways, but eventually maybe we'll come back together. Watanabe, I don't know why we got the Cowboy Bebop movie, which I love, by the way, but never got the Samurai Champloo movie. Would love to have that one day. I thought we were going to get that instead of live action, but we'll see. Maybe one day down the line. I don't know. But that's my list, man. That's my tier ranking list. So just to run them again, we have episode 9, 5, 12, and 22 in the It Is What It Is category, while we have episode 8, 10, was that 10 or 16? Sorry, 16, 4, 18, 6, 3, 2, and is that 19? I cannot see worth shit. And he's in the good category. 13, 15, 17, 7, 1, and 10 in the really good. And of course, the final 3 episodes, both LG and entrapment, gambles and gallantry, and the second part of misguided miscreants, and baseball blues in best category. Again, this is just my list, man. I would love to hear what y'all have as y'all list. Saying mine sucks or is different will not bother me, by the way, because it's just an opinion, bro. I don't really care. I do want to hear y'all stuff, because I know some people look at baseball blues and investment like, yo, you're bugging. Let me know how you feel about baseball blues. Let me know how you feel about the show in general, and the anime in general. I can say I think it's one of the best anime of all time. Personally, never understood how it got underrated, but the most important thing is, thank you for watching, and be sure to be on the lookout for Infinite, a poetic companion to Samurai Champloo. Again, 27 free verses for every episode, twice for the final episode. Yeah, it'll be out in June. My experiences, or my hope for everybody is just to either watch an episode and then read the piece, or read the piece and then watch the episode. Either way, really depends on if you've watched the anime before. But yeah, there's really no one way to read it, but the most important thing is what are you searching for? And that's really the main goal of the anime, and the main takeaway from the anime. And yeah, I'm not really good at closing things out, but again, I want to thank everybody. Appreciate you. Be sure to look out for Infinite, and